In order to understand our present, one must know the past. Different events in time have shaped and modeled our education system. In the 60s, when the US was competing with other countries for space exploration, leaders decided to push schools for more math and science. Disruption not only alters the course of history, but also the way schools are managed. According to the book Leading Schools in Disruptive Times, between the decades of the 50s and the 70s, changes were rather slow. Principals knew schools' operations, everything was normal and predictable. The more predictable, the more manageable. Then disruptions occurred, and with them came the need for a change. Even though since the 70s disruptions have occurred more rapidly, the most impactful one has been technology. Before, we would get the news or any type of information via television or radio. People actually would take a pen and paper and write letters to friends, relatives, or even congressmen. Of course, it would take days or even weeks to get any type of response, if the letter didn't get lost in the mail, of course. Now, with a click of a button or a voice command, you can send a message to hundreds of people at a single moment. Education is falling behind. In some instances, we lack either the technology or the training to deal with so much information. I know my students are one step ahead of me, and sometimes not for the best. It frightens me to assign something on a technological device because in a blink of an eye, they manage to wander into sites that are not supposed to be suited for them, despite filters and restrictions. As we enter a hyper change age, I realize that it is so hard to keep up. When my children were in middle school, there was an application called MySpace. In order for me to keep an eye on what my children were doing and conversing with, I decided to make my own profile. As I was getting the hang of it, my children graduated into Facebook. Needless to say, I followed and became very good at it. Now my children are adults. I no longer need to spy on them anymore. But in order to keep communicating with them, I need to be up to date with Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and so on and so on. Bottom line is that leaders have to know how to cope with disruptions and incorporate technology into their everyday activities. In the book Cybertooth Curriculum, I felt it was describing the professors I had when I was in middle school and high school in Mexico. They would stand in front of a classroom. Some classrooms even had podiums, and they would lecture or write everything on the board. No one argued, no one discussed, and everyone wrote and memorized. Then it goes on about Newfist and his need to teach in an organized way and with a purpose. The way he took the children's natural way of learning by imitating grown-ups at work while playing. Creating the need for a purpose changes the view on real-life situations. Instead of students having the idea of, I don't need to learn this because I am never going to use it.